I'm here with Chris Weary from Champion Systems, and we're at the start here in Durango. This is your hometown. What does it feel like to be able to pretty much walk out your front door and have one of the biggest cycling races in the U.S. right here?
I got to be honest, it kind of makes me sad that I'm not racing it because this is just such a great event. And, you know, being the second year, last year was huge. I was on the tour with the organization last year. And, you know, to have this in my hometown, I'm super excited about it. I've been a little bit of a tour guide all week, but I've got to sleep in my own bed, and that's pretty fun. So it's great to have all these guys in town. I'm really excited about it.
To be able to have the race come here in Durango, did you have any part in being able to persuade them to be able to come here, and how much is involved in order to have a start?
Yeah, you know, the local organizing committee here did a great job. We put a bid in the first year, and, you know, being the first year of the race, they kind of kept things up around the front range a little bit more. But the local organizing committee here did a great job, and they got the bid in, and you know, the organization was excited about it. And so, you know, we're really looking forward to the start today. Everybody's excited.
So you said, you know, you almost kind of wish you were racing, but once you see these guys out there and, you know, they're going to be suffering, you might change your mind. But obviously you know the roads where we're going today. How do you expect today to play out?
Yeah, you know, today's start is extremely difficult. I mean, the first 40K of this race are really challenging, starting with right over the college, right up the front hill. You know, we definitely got some hills around here, and we're going to showcase them here in this first 40K. And, you know, I expect that there's either going to be full-on chaos and lots of attacks for the first 40K, or the guys are going to conserve a little bit because it is a long day all the way over to Telluride.
All right, thanks a lot, Chris.
Yeah, no worries.
Good luck to Champion.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Tyler, a fantastic sprint today. Tell me, your teammates were in the break, you were sitting in the back. How did you pull that off today?
You know, we knew that there was a small chance of a sprint today, but it wasn't a sure bet, and you know, we wanted to see if we could surprise a few people, maybe get some of the guys up the road and take time on GC. So, you know, we all went, or the other guys went pretty crazy in the start, and we got those guys up the road, and we were really hoping that that would be the race, and, you know, they could pull out a minute or two on the other GC riders. But, you know, the team's organized behind and chased it down, and I just hung on for dear life over the hills, and, you know, once I made it, I knew I had a pretty good shot in the sprint itself.
You've had a good amount of bad luck this year, so what does it mean for you to finally get this first win of the season?
It means even more than it normally would. I mean, the last 3 or 4 months have been an absolute disaster personally when it comes to bike racing. So, you know, it was getting to be a big monkey on my back, and it feels really good to finally be rid of it.
Now you have a little bit more faith for the rest of the season and the next upcoming mountain stages. Right now, can you tell me that last kilometer on your own, and how did you get through that to be able to get yourself into the position to be able to win?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty confident of you know, riding the sprint by myself. You know, we had Alex Howes to just kind of keep things fast. You know, we didn't want guys launching in the last kilometer, so he just kind of buried himself on the front, and then I freelanced the last 800 meters or so. And I mean, I kind of knew Rory Sutherland was a guy to watch, and I lined up off him, and worked out.
Nobody matched your speed today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. Nice ride.
Yeah, thanks.
We're ready.
Chris, yeah, you're definitely ready. I mean, it's the first stage. We're underway. Very different stage than expected. A dangerous group got off the front, and just tell me how it played out after that.
Yeah, very dangerous. And then it was just, you know, who was going to call the bluff and who was going to ride and who wasn't. BMC's got a strong team, though, so they started riding. At one point in time, they took their guys off, and then Levi put his one guy on the front to just keep the gap at 4 minutes. If Levi wouldn't have did that, for sure, the break would have went the distance. But just that one guy up there just kept the tempo still at 4 minutes, the gap. And then after that, BMC went back to work on the front with, of course, a bunch of other teams. The two breaks kind of split up, or one break split up in two pieces. We got to one, but then still left Danielson out there with a teammate, and they were doing, you know, a fabulous job. But of course, we caught him coming into the finish there.
Before coming into the finish on the two climbs, how hard and how fast was it going over those climbs?
It was hard, but not. We weren't maxed out because the problem is the climb's not steep enough to really blow the race apart. Certainly, it made it a smaller group, which was nice for me. Keeps it a little bit safer, and then I can do the sprint to try to get good guard position for the finish for tomorrow.
Were you surprised that a couple of GC contenders for this race actually put their nose out in the wind on a very long day?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a few out there, huh? Nibali, Danielson, Stettin, I think, was out there. So there was some good power out there. But you know, you look at Utah where we finished with second with Boucher. He didn't say if his legs were 100%. I don't know if mine are 100% to win it. So we're willing to play Jens and play George up there for the win.
I was going to ask you that. I mean, you only had Jens up there. You mentioned about BMC being the real tough team. I saw you and Clody talking a little bit, so you guys decided to sit back and, or what was the decision there?
We were going to play the break, plain and simple. If BMC would have sat up, we would have just let that break go all the way to the line, and then that'd have been GC on the race, I think.
It would have been a hard lesson learned for everyone.
For everyone. But, I look at it as we didn't win in Utah. Certainly, BMC had 2 guys that were climbing really good at Utah. That was only a week ago. Now they come here with an even stronger team. So if you're going to show up with a team that's strong, you got to be prepared to do all the work.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Christian, a fantastic race by your entire team. Tyler Farah taking the win, but this morning you put some heavy hitters in that front break. Tell me about the morning meeting.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit unexpected for most of the peloton to see those guys going in the early breaks, and especially Tom, where Tom usually isn't so aggressive from the beginning. But yeah, the meeting was just let's just go, and it was advantageous for us the way the race parcours was so hard at the beginning. And then sometimes luck plays on your side with a big group like that and just kind of trickling off like that. But then Tom and those guys did an unbelievable job, unreal. But then I don't know how I turned around and Tyler was there and he turned himself inside out and he had the ugly face on, but then you see him going through the corner and it was over for everyone,
He definitely came up there the fastest of anyone else, and this has got to be a huge win for him to finally get a big win, and for your team to be able to start off on a high note. Explain to the viewers, though, with those guys, those power hitters in that front group, were you able to relax in the back?
There was no relaxing today. It was hard, man. It was really hard. It was just like the tour today, like a just constant hard tempo, and at the altitude, it really just sucks it out of you. But yes, we didn't have to think about it. We didn't have to push too hard. But yeah, as you're saying earlier about Tyler, Tyler spent half the year on the ground this year, and he's had a rough year. And for him to finally win here on a mountain day, more or less, 10,000 feet of climbing, is unexpected, but it's really emotional for him. He's a mess right now.
Champagne for everybody. On a last note, Zabriskie looked like he was suffering some stomach problems. Can you give us any information on that?
Yeah, Z-Man looked like he was pretty rough. He was really good, and he was really bad all immediately. So who knows? Sometimes when you go that deep and your body's not ready for it, it's curtains.
And you never know with Dave.
You never know with Dave.
Could have been eating raw shrimp. Thanks.
All right, see you guys.
All right, thank you, Christian.
Welcome to Race Radio from the 2012 USA Pro Challenge. I'm Joe Lindsay. I'm joined as always by Frankie Andrea, and we're coming to you from Telluride, Colorado. It's got to be one of the most beautiful backdrops for a stage finish that I've ever seen in pretty much any race.
No, fantastic. The mountains, we're just surrounded by mountains, and of course the riders had to, they started in Durango, 3 KOMs to be able to get here, and the entire day was fantastic. A 22-man break. They were racing up the road, and that main field was like a drag race trying to chase them. And we finished almost an hour ahead of schedule.
Yeah, these guys were going an average of 26 miles an hour for the whole stage, up all these KOMs, all that kind of stuff. And the thing that put that into play was Garmin putting 4 riders into the day's big move. It was a really crazy start. You had 22 riders up there at one point, and it was just popping behind them as teams tried to figure out what was going on and what to do.
No, exactly. There were 12 teams represented in the break. They only left like 5 or 6 to chase.
Right.
So we saw BMC, even though they had a guy up there, they were taking responsibility. BMC was riding on the front. Even Russ Velo was riding on the front. The Colombians,
they had a guy in the break
everybody
even, yeah.
taking turns riding on the front until they burnt out. And at the end, it was United trying to bring back the Danielson-Stetna combo.
Yeah, and Garmin obviously put in a huge amount of work today. Didn't necessarily get maybe the result that we all thought might happen, but they got a result with Tyler Farah's fantastic stage when he was pretty much far and away the best sprinter here.
And
today.
Tyler gets a lot of grief about being a sprinter, not having the results he wanted. But I'm telling you, when he went and you watch that overhead view, you can see why he has the power and the speed that he has. He shelled everyone, just pulled away from him. A fantastic win. Of course, now not only the yellow jersey, but he also has the green jersey. Peter Stetna with the most aggressive jersey, and then Danielson with the KOM. So it was, for the first day, a very exciting race.
Pretty exciting. Obviously, big wins there for Garmin today. They burnt a lot of matches to get them. I talked to Charlie Regiles, the director, and asked him what was the tactic, and he said basically they don't have a guy like a TJ or a guy like a Levi who's their one big top guy who they can rely on. They have got 3 or 4 guys who are pretty good, but they want to see kind of how these guys are going to shake out. So the idea was make it hard, put the other teams on the defensive, make them work as hard as possible, and see how that goes over the course of the week. It's an interesting tactic. It's a very aggressive tactic.
Well, they don't have to worry about Basso and Cadell. They're both gone. Nibali lost about a minute. There was a bunch of guys getting sick out there. Spider Tech lost some guys. Chi out. He was out at Utah. And then Lawson Craddock from Bontrager was like the last guy to come across the line all by himself, 25 minutes down.
Crazy
which
amount of
only
precision.
makes the stage for tomorrow Montrose to CB. That's what the locals call
Yeah,
it.
the CB, Crested Butte, or the
Yeah.
Butte. And it's 159 kilometers, and kind of like today, there's 3 KOMs, but a lot of it's just kind of a slow, steady drag to altitude, and then the only part that's really different is that finishing climb at Crested Butte.
Yeah, and what makes it different is today there's no yellow jersey. I mean, today there was no yellow jersey in the beginning, so it was wide open who was going to control it. The same thing tomorrow. Tyler Fair is not going to make it up that climb, so who's going to
Everybody knows
control the
that.
race? He has the yellow jersey, but it's wide open. Also, there's no time bonuses on the stages, so whoever can get to that finish line first will be the new yellow jersey wearer. And the question is, what team wants to take responsibility to chase that down to make sure that they get that opportunity at the finish in Crested Butte?
And remember last year when we saw Levi charge away for that solo win there, that was some of the biggest time gaps we saw for any stage during the race. This year we have 2 more summit finishes after that at Beaver Creek and at Boulder on Flagstaff. But this is obviously a place where guys have to make a move, so you're definitely going to see it happen tomorrow.
Yep. Can't wait. Can't wait for Flagstaff. Tomorrow's the first day. Let's get
Tomorrow's
it.
the
Let's
first
get her
day.
done.
Get it done. Anyway, that's Race Radio. Frankie Andreo. I'm Joe Lindsay. Thanks.
Sweet.
That covered everything I wanted to cover.
Yeah, I got everything. I forgot to mention Zabriskie.
Yeah, I mean he's he's up there with the people getting sick. So